We are now live, just so you know.
I
So if
thought
you
I've
want
been
to,
alive for a long time.
well, I didn't say alive. I said live. Um, Live from New York. It's yeah.
I am going to be in Jersey tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not New York.
Close enough.
It is right. Like I've never been to either one of them, but I guess it's just across the bridge, right?
Yeah.
Well, depending on where you're at in New York. If
Yeah,
you're on the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
farthest end of New York and the farthest end of
yeah.
New Jersey, then
No,
it's kind of different.
I stay at. Wait a minute. What is it? Let me finish this, dude. Hold
Oh
on.
my gosh. There, see, I just muted it and coughed at the same time, so you didn't have to suffer through it. Whenever you're ready, Grandpa. I mean, Louie. I'm going to share these things.
Well, there's no. Oh, there it is. There's no enter button. The hell? How you gonna take away my enter button?
Enter? Is it really
There it
called
is.
enter anymore?
Oh, share now. It didn't have the share now
Yeah,
button. I
yeah.
had to. I had to find. Come on now.
Enter is like they don't
Yeah.
even call them enter. I think they call them return now.
Whatever.
Like enter was back in like the 1980s, man. When
Yeah. Are
they
you videotaping this?
I'm man. Later on, I'm gonna put my cassette in, and I'm gonna. Oh gosh! All right, you ready?
Oh, wait,
Let's
wait,
do
wait,
this.
wait. I was gonna tell you. Oh, yeah. So Paramus, where I go, there's
Who?
one.
What?
Paramus
Paramus.
is where I go. Paramus, New Jersey. So I fly
Oh,
into
okay.
Newark, New Jersey. So right across from Newark, New Jersey is the lower part, lower Manhattan. So that part where I go, if I go into New York, I don't go to like where I go to
Like
where like the World Trade Centers were.
you don't go to like
I go.
Times Square or something.
No, that's more north,
Oh.
or I go to Staten Island, which is where I get my pizza. 'Cause that's where my boys are.
But as somebody who's never been to New York, it when you say New York, that's it. It's just all there. It's all within like a block.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah, yeah.
Now, granted, obviously, if I went there, I'd realize no, not the same. Much like people who don't live in Florida
Right.
think that everywhere in Florida is like the Key West.
Now it's all
Everywhere in
close. It's
Florida is
all close,
palm trees and,
but it
and,
is all
and
close
ocean.
together. Don't let them fool you that it's all far apart. Everything's close. I
Right,
mean, everything's 30 minutes, but to them, 30 minutes is a big deal, which is weird because
right,
it's like it's the traffic that can really
yeah.
stall you out.
Well, here
But
in
but
Orlando, that's how we
outside
do.
of that major area,
Yeah,
dude, everything is 30 minutes, bro. I can go from this part of Jersey all the way to South Jersey. I can go to all the way to Staten Island within 30 minutes. It's harder to drive through Orlando and get to Disney
yeah.
from
I bet.
Daytona
Oh,
and New
oh,
Smyrna
yeah.
Beach than it is to drive around there, by the way. Don't let them
Well,
fool you.
I know here in Orlando, that's how we use distance, right? Most people are like, "Oh, it's like 5 miles that way."
Right,
Here in
right,
Orlando, it's like, "How long
right,
is it going to take?" It's like
right,
15 minutes that way.
right. Yeah. And then once you
So,
get in New York is the problem.
right.
Once you get in New York, then you can't drive anywhere, apparently, because it takes 2.5 hours to get to where Marissa is in New York. And on a map, it's like right there.
Yeah,
I don't know
you're
how
not
it takes 2.5 hours.
you're not selling it to me. I don't personally see the appeal to New York myself, but a lot of people seem to like it, I
Trinidad,
guess.
Staten Island. That's the only Staten Island and Jersey. I like Jersey and I like Staten Island.
Okay.
You'd
All
like
right,
it. Jersey's cool and Staten Island's
Jersey.
cool.
I'm more of a
Yeah,
mountain guy though,
Jersey's
man. So
cool.
I like the wilderness
Well,
and the
that's
woods
different.
and the mountain.
Yeah, but that's a different vibe for a different time.
Yeah, well, that's the vibe I
I'm
prefer
talking about
all
the
the time.
food. I'm talking about no. You gotta have all vibes. The pizza, man. The pizza. If I want barbecue, I go to Texas.
I
If I
like
if I want
the
horses, I'll go to where you're talking
I
about.
like the crazy
Uh,
hermit dude in the middle of the cabin in the woods. I'm like, look at me, man. That's where I belong. So,
Dude,
anyways,
you're in Orlando, bro.
I
You're
know,
you're
and
like
I don't want to
you're in the most Puerto Rican neighborhood in Orlando,
be.
looking
Yes,
the way you do.
I think I'm the only white dude in this neighborhood.
Dude, when they see you, they must always just ask
Oh,
you shit for Christmas.
yeah, who knows? And on that note, let me roll this beautiful bean footage.
Shut up and sit down.
Boom. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Dope and Dharma. This is the Dharma Time Hour, and he is the Dope Doctor, and I, of course, am the Dharma Guy. What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in.
Hold up.
Exactly. I could have just saved all of that and just said, hola.
No, because apparently that would be misappropriation if you said it. I could say it because I'm Mexican, Puerto Rican, but you can't say it. That's what they said. I don't know, man. I'm just going with what they're saying, man.
Probably.
Apparently they forgot when you used to be put down and not allowed to go into restaurants and not allowed to have jobs. People forget when Irish people weren't allowed to do crap. Or Italians weren't allowed to do crap.
That would be for our Friday show, I think.
Yeah.
Although it kind of fits in with today's topic, I think. Anyways, for those of you who are just tuning in, we appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. If you're listening to this on, look at that. If you're listening to this on any of our podcasting platforms, make sure you subscribe. If you're listening to this on YouTube, like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. If you'd like to participate in any of our discussions live, make sure you go to YouTube Live, Facebook Live, or Twitch Live under Dope and Dharma. And then, as I just said, you can listen to us on any of the podcasting platforms if you'd rather listen to us on your own time or just listen. So,
I have yet to ever go to Twitch. I don't even know what it looks like. I don't even have the app.
And you know what? The weird thing is, we actually have people who listen every week or every day on Twitch.
That's just so weird. What's up, Twitchers?
Yeah, it's interesting. I have a Twitch because of the Dharma guy. I do like some gaming stuff here and there, but nothing like
you should. You're good at it. You're good at it. What's your gamer name, by the way? Tell everybody what your gamer name is so they find you.
The Dharma guy. it's really hard to remember.
It used to be some funny name when you didn't know that. I remember that.
Yeah. My old self, when I first got into it, I didn't realize that online gaming was like a thing. I mean, we're talking, gosh, I don't know, when PlayStation first came out. This is a long time ago now. And I chose my name as TFLLC, which is my company, like Trinity Fitness Limited Liability Corp.
Philic.
Yeah, and that's what happened. Is I didn't realize that was like your call name, and everybody's going to call you by it. So I had people who were joining me who didn't know who I was. They're like, like they like their brain just short circuited.
Right.
And so I changed it to the Dharma guy. So now I'm known as Dharma. I have a whole group of people out there who only know me as Dharma. That's it. So, anyways, I digress.
That's how I know you.
So, anyways, today's show I wanted to do on the title obviously is considering in consideration, right?
Okay.
Let me go ahead and put that bad boy up there.
Yeah.
Bam. There we go.
Considering in consideration. It's a tongue twister. It's like a tongue twister.
Yeah, I wanted to put it up just because I don't know. I wanted something that sounded whatever it sounds like.
It's very inconsiderate of you, actually. You used every letter available to you. It's like a Scrabble, like a Scrabble masterpiece. If you would add a Q in there, it'd be perfect.
And oddly enough, I've only played Scrabble like once in my life, which is weird. But
no, you played that one thing on the plane with me. You were like kicking my butt on it. Whatever. Yeah. What was that game? Oh my God! You were like you're like an idiot savant on that stupid game.
Yeah, it's the one where you have letters and you have to make words out of the letters.
Yeah, don't play Trinity in that game.
So, anyways, I just wanted to do considering in consideration because I've noticed, and I have some trivial examples, and obviously I'm sure we can come up with some bigger examples. Okay. I wanted to talk about it as a whole, as well as from a spiritual perspective, kind of like why that's a problem and how we can curtail it, right? But the exact moment that it happened where I was like, I'm going to do a show on this because, our very scientific approach to the way we pick show topics, something happened, it irritated me, and I'm like, you know what, we're going to do a show on that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was it. That was the process. So, oh man, I do out in the cold yesterday in Tampa, and last night it felt like I was going to get sick again. I thought I was going to pull a Louis. Were you like sick, got better, and then got sick again? Anyways,
I did as I can yesterday.
Yeah, man,
to prevent one.
Yeah, as I can.
Everybody's got something right now, man.
It's crazy. Anyways, but yeah, I was out in Tampa yesterday, and it felt fantastic, even though the sun was up a little too bright for me. Anyway, so the other day I was driving down the street. I think it was in just a regular highway, not the interstate or anything. And this person that was in front of me just randomly decided to stop, like because they were looking at something, and it never occurred to them. It didn't seem, anyways, that there's people around you who are doing different things. They were so engrossed in their own little world that they looked at something. They were trying to get a better look. They couldn't see it. So like, well, just stop, just stop and look over and see what it is. It irritated me because it's like, I almost ran into the back of this person because I wasn't expecting them to, in the middle of traffic, to just, I'm going to stop right now. And I've seen it a lot, right? Because the other place I see it a lot other than on the road. And I don't know if you do a lot of shopping or not, but
yeah, I do.
Grocery store.
Grocery? I am the grocery shopper.
Okay. So then you probably have seen this many a times. I've been walking in the grocery store many times, and there's a certain individual in my family, which will remain nameless, but this person does this a lot, and it always irks me.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just be walking with the shopping cart in the middle of the aisle, and then just like stop, and then like leave their shopping cart right in the middle and go grab
no.
something.
Oh no, drives me
And
nuts.
and for me, it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
And when this particular individual who remain nameless, when they
Is it
do it,
Angel? Is it Angel? Angel does it?
I'm just
Is that the
saying,
nameless person?
I'm not gonna give names.
Huh.
Um, for those of you who can't see, you're gonna miss out. But yes, it irritates me because for me, it feels inconsiderate.
It is
Like,
inconsiderate.
it feels inconsiderate of everybody behind you or in front of you who's trying to go through that aisle. Like, I get it. Like, it's convenient for you to leave it there, but it's not convenient for anybody else other than just you. And it feels so selfish to me. Now, I don't think, I've thought a lot about this actually since I came up with the topic, right?
Okay.
I don't think that we as a collective are that inherently selfish to where like we are selfish.
What?
But I don't
What?
think I don't think given the opportunity, people would say, I don't care about this other person. I think if you brought it up to their attention, most people, oh, I'm sorry, and they move it out the way. I think in that moment, they're just so engrossed in their world that like other people just don't exist. In other words, I don't think it's done on purpose. I don't think they say, see all these people who are coming through here? I don't care about any of you. I'm going to put it here. That's what it feels like what they're saying for sure. But you also notice in the grocery store, for instance, when you do come through and hey, excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry. It's like they're in a trance and you're like, hey, excuse me, I need to get through here. And then, like they're shocked that they totally underestimated the fact that there's another human being in the same store with them, and they move out the way and then they go back to their little world. And so that's the only solace I take in knowing that I don't think the majority of them are like, see that, right? I'm going to get right in your way. I don't think they're doing it on purpose, but man, we do that a lot though, as a
Right.
species, right? And yeah, I do think as a golden rule, people are inherently selfish, but
Right.
I also don't think people as a golden rule are inherently antagonistic or mean. I don't think given the opportunity, they would purposely ruin somebody else's moment. I think that we just get so immersed in our own world, our own journey, that we don't stop to think how that's impacting those around us. And I don't think we do it just on the road or the grocery store. I think it happens all the time, right? Like I've been in movie theaters where people are like talking or on their phones or whatever. I've been in movie theaters when somebody like when I had kids that were little, I didn't go to the movie theater. Now I don't do it now because, well, I mean, COVID happened and I love my big screen TV. But back when I enjoyed going to the movie theater, I would not bring my little children. I wouldn't bring my 2-year-old because
Unless
for
you're
me,
going to a little kid movie.
yeah. And
All right,
reason
because you
being,
sound like a really mean man all of a sudden. It's like you didn't take your kids to Frozen. You didn't take your daughter to Frozen.
I did actually. We had a daddy-daughter date where I took her to that one Book of
There
the
you
Dead or
go.
whatever.
There you go.
The
So
Mexican
you
one.
did, but you did it to baby movies.
Yeah, but I wouldn't take him to the theater like to watch an adult movie, like you said.
Right.
I got to get that specific here. And the reason being is I didn't want to be rude. I didn't want to be that dude that's sitting here with this crying baby when everybody's trying to enjoy. They all paid money just like I did, and they should have the right to enjoy it. But many people don't seem to think that same way.
Yeah, that's why I don't take Dana to movies, because she's inconsiderate. She talks during the movie, so I'm considerate to all you guys, and I refuse to take her to
Right.
movies because of that.
Exactly. But I don't know, there's so many instances, right? And then of course you got the more serious ones, right? The more serious ones, where like in a relationship, for instance, somebody's doing something that's inconsiderate to their partner, and when the partner brings it up, oftentimes instead of us realizing like, oh man, I'm sorry, I didn't even mean to do that, I didn't even. No, we get defensive. Typically we try to defend our behavior instead of realizing like,
Right.
no, I wasn't even in the mindset, my bad.
Yeah.
Because there's like, I've had that conversation one time with my wife where she was one time she specifically got mad at me because she left clothes in the washing machine, and just in her mind assumed that I would go out into the garage, see that, and say, oh, let me switch them to the dryer for her.
Wait. In your household, your wife thinks that you'll do that?
Yeah, still, which is weird, but
I do my own laundry, and I don't think Dana would ever think I would do that for her.
yeah, I do laundry all the time.
That's a good view on you.
Well, I told her you need to lower those expectations a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
And so, but she got mad because in her mind, the narrative that she played out was that I purposely looked at those and were like, no, screw her. I'm not going to do this. And that was the narrative that she ran with. And what
Yeah.
I tried to explain to her, I was like, look, man, if we're driving and I say, hey, what was that car that just passed us? Your answer is probably going to be the blue car, to whereas most of my guy friends, hey, what car just passed us? Oh, that was a Toyota Camry, right? Because when we see it, we just see it differently. Well, you could probably steal my washer and dryer and I wouldn't even know about it for like a good week or two. Like I wouldn't know about it until I'm running out of clothes and it's time for me to go wash clothes. I'd go out and be like, what happened to the washer and dryer? Like it's just not a part of my normal like behavior to go look at that for any reason other than I need to do something. Like, and that's an example of how we kind of get into our own little worlds. And so I think we do that a lot, right? Like I think as people, we do that a lot. We get in our own little world and we just seem like bump our heads and forget that there's other people around us, right? I mean, I'm sure you've experienced some of those things I just said.
Most all of those things, except my wife thinking that I'm going to do hers. Now, I have thought that about her. Like if she sees something, and I know my daughter thinks about that about my wife. My daughter will leave stuff in the dryer all the time.
Best ever.
Oh,
by the way.
jarritos.
Lime, dude. I'm all my Mexican friends. Shame on you.
Yeah.
For not telling me about this sooner.
Oh, how would
this
I even know that
is
you like
so
it?
good. Anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Jarritos is good. So anyway, I like the orange better than the lime, but that's good. They're all good.
Yeah, they're all pretty
good. Tamarindo. Anyway, yeah, I think all too often what we do is we judge others by what we think we would do in that same circumstance. So in that case, we feel very justified in being upset with other people for being themselves. So let's take that grocery store thing, for instance. Like, even though it pisses both you and I off,
Oh, I hate it.
Other people, they probably are not bothered by it. They, but I don't know because so I'm going to give you a scenario. Same scenario, grocery store. Now, I try to be semi-silent but visible. So if you do that, I will not at first be frustrated. At first, I just think you didn't know I was behind you. So then I'll move to the side and then see if you see me. If you don't see me, I'll say, excuse me. But I do it politely.
Right.
If you still ignore me, then I'm going to can I move your cart for you? I'm going to put my hands in your cart if I've asked twice. But I'll ask at least a couple. I'll ask low and then I'll ask louder. Sure. But then I might just move it just a little bit and then go through. Now, it's funny because some of the older generation, I've seen them park and stop and they won't even tell someone to move. They'll just sit there, but
politely wait. Yeah.
Not politely. They'll wait, but they're visibly just
like, come on.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, why aren't they just going? And then other people, because I do the grocery, other people will move your cart in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Like there's you see the dynamics of individuals. And there are types. You can literally stereotype shopping experiences. You really can.
We got the shopping cart thing too, right? The notion that the shopping cart dictates the kind of human you are. You've heard that, I'm sure, by now.
What do you mean? How you pack
put it, whether you put it up or not? Like when you go to the parking lot.
I always put it away. That's a very inconsiderate thing to do. For those of you that just leave them stranded, I don't even understand that. That's just ridiculous to me. So do you leave it stranded? Is that what you're saying?
Depends on how you define stranded. I do both.
Oh my God!
I do both. If I'm in a rush or something,
I will walk it all the way up to the if they don't have one of those things.
Yeah, I won't do that.
No, man.
I won't do that.
Oh, because those things can damage cars. They block spaces. They like to roll on themselves and scratch vehicles and stuff. Anyway,
I'll put it up on the ledge or something like that so it can't roll.
I did that younger. I did that. I'd lift up the 2 front wheels and stick them there. Yeah, but now they have all those things there. So
yeah, they usually have one within distance. So I very rarely don't put it in there.
But anyway, back to the inside. The inside, Trinity. I not only go to the side, even though there's nobody in the whole row. I not only go to the side, but I'm watchful of where I park it. Like, do I park it in front of like a desired object? Or
wow, okay.
Right. If it's something that like who buys that?
Well,
Then
desirable
that's where
to
I
you.
park it. But I would never park it like in front of mac and cheese. You know, someone's coming and they're gonna want mac and cheese, right? So never park the
It'll be
cart.
me because my kids love that.
That's what I'm saying. So you don't park it in front of something that's. I always park it, you know, with something that I think nobody really wants. And then when I see someone coming, I'm very mindful of because they'll do the look, right, and they'll do the look around, you know, try to open the door when there's no opening, and it's like, yeah, let me move this for you. Oh, no, it's okay. I'm like, no, it's not okay. I got it, you know, but I don't say it. But I'm like,
You
go
just
for
hit
it.
it on the head, though. I think with the word.
Yeah.
There's
But
one
be
word
mindful.
you use.
You got to be mindful of what the other people. I'm constantly that way, but everywhere. It's not
Same here.
just grocery store. It's driving. If I'm look, I hate when people drive slow in a fast lane. I think it's this fast lane. It's a passing lane. I view it as a
Yes.
passing lane,
Yes.
not just a fast lane, because there's always faster than you.
Sure.
It's a passing lane. So to me, I'm constantly out of that lane. I go in that
Right.
lane and out of that lane, in that lane, out of that lane. So if I think I'm going fast, but you're going faster, I'll still move.
Yeah.
But I know there's people out there saying, I'm going fast enough, so you're just going to have to find your way around. It's like, really?
The
Or
only
two
time I
cars,
will do
or
that
two
is
cars. If you're in the faster lane and there's a car dead side against you, slow down or speed up, but somehow leave it open. Do not stay 2 by 2.
Yeah. The only time I will do that is if they're a prick about it. If I'm obviously like almost past this car and they come flying up on me and they ride me trying to bully me out the way, then it's like, nah, bro, now you're just being a dick. Like, no, that's just disrespectful because you could hurt me. Like, who knows? I could accidentally have to. What if I have to hit the brakes for whatever reason? You're right up on me. Like, no, man. Like, I'll move out your way. Just give me a second. I'm already almost past this car.
Yeah, for that guy, I'll still do it because they're dangerous.
Right.
They're dangerous drivers, and they're gonna
Sure.
they're gonna have
I didn't
problems
say it was the
somewhere
right
down the
thing
road.
to do.
but the ones that when I don't do it is for the driver that does not see. I ride with cruise control.
Right.
The driver that doesn't understand speed consistency, they'll pass you and then slow down. But as soon as they're in front of you, they slow down. But as soon as they're behind you, they speed up. That driver that's constantly getting right back in front of me, and I'm on cruise control, but that driver keeps getting in front of me and keeps slowing down in front of me. That driver, next time I can slow them down, I will mess with that dude.
Well, and to be honest with you, very rarely, and this is because I'm mindful.
Right.
Very rarely will somebody come up on me and have
you
to
drive
move
fast as hell, bro.
Well, not only do I drive fast, but my other thing is I will see them coming, and I'll move out the way way ahead of time.
Correct. That's what I do.
I will see them coming from so far away and realize that they're moving, and I'll just get out the way knowing that they're coming.
I anticipate. You have to anticipate.
Yes.
In everything, by the way, in everything. Don't just walk across the street thinking because I'm a vehicle and you're a human that I'm not going to run into you. I might accidentally hit you. And you're going to ruin my life because your dumbass couldn't go all the way to the oh, this is Dharma Time. I probably shouldn't call people dumbasses on Dharma Time. But, you know, if you dumbass does not go to the crosswalk that's just 50 feet away, and then you have a baby carrier, you have the nerve to have a baby stroller, and you're walking illegally across, you're just a ridiculous person. That you're going to hurt somebody.
Yeah, but the problem is we all do it, right? We all have our moments of inconsideration, some more than others, and some in different spots in life.
Right, but I like to judge them that's like I judge situations by what looks like a repetitive behavior, like a part of who they are, and some that I could tell that it's a mistake because when they see you, they're like, I'm sorry, because I do the same thing. I'll be doing something considerate, and then when I'm caught doing, I'm like, I'm sorry, you know, and but I'm instantly apologetic. Other people like get mad, like what?
Yes. Well, we both have somebody in common, right? That told us a story one time and how they parked in the middle of the street to help their wife with something, and then as somebody was coming through, beeped the horn at them, and then they got angry, like, "Hey, I'll be done in a second." And we were trying to tell this person, like, I understand from your perspective, you were just trying to help your wife out. I get it, man. But the other person who's trying to go to where they got to do, maybe they're trying to go help their wife out as well, and they can't.
Right.
Not because of their inability, no, because you decided to leave your car in front of them and they couldn't go around it.
Yeah,
and you were technically, they did not get it.
They actually thought they were right. They said they slowed down because of it.
Yes. And that's what I mean, though. We have a lot of people like that. You know, at times I feel cursed because I am one of those weird cerebral individuals that notice damn near everything around me. Right. I don't have a relaxed moment. My brain is constantly like I'm looking at everything and I'm seeing everything. Right. And so it makes it very difficult for me then to kind of make those mistakes, right? Like, because I'm just aware. Like, I'll see people in the grocery store. I'll see you 50 feet away coming, and I'll know that they're probably gonna come over here, so I'll move out the way. Like, I see all of that. Towards my wife, when she goes shopping, all she sees is whatever she's holding in her hand. Like, she does not see the 30 people around her. Like, there could literally be a traffic jam because of her cart, and she would never notice it. I can't tell you how many times her and I've been walking in the parking lot, and she just will, like, she'll sometimes not be paying attention.
Where
So
a
she'll
car's
walk
wanting
down
to
the middle,
back up,
or she'll just walk down the middle.
or a
And it's
car's
like,
trying to drive down the middle and you're not on the sides.
Yes.
Both those things drive me nuts.
They drive me nuts as well.
Why aren't you not on the side? Or they walk diagonal across the road when you're letting them.
Yes.
You're supposed to walk straight across the road if somebody's
Yes.
letting you cross. You don't
Yes.
walk diagonal and still keep blocking the road.
So I'll have to be the one that tells her,
Oh
like,
my
hey,
God.
watch out.
Angel's looking very bad right now. Angel, I'm sorry, Angel.
But you know what I call that? I call that the
Inconsiderate.
artist mind. Well, I call that the artist mind. Like, she just doesn't have
What?
the parameters that the rest of us do.
What
I'm
excuse are
telling
you
you.
giving her?
I'm not giving an excuse. Don't get me wrong.
What's the art? What does an artist's mind have anything to do with it? What does her artistic talent have anything to do with it?
The way I've seen it with her is her creativity, right? Like, things that make her good at art make her bad at logistics and logical things. Meaning, like, she's late to damn near everything, right? Because she's very optimistic. In her mind, she's thinking, oh, I can do this, and she's got all these things, and she doesn't stop to think of the parameters of it.
Wait, Dana has zero artistic talent and she's late to everything. What are
Yeah,
you talking about? That is not artistic mind. That's something else. It's something else, but it's not artistic
we can
mind.
call it what we want, I guess.
You're being very generous calling it artistic.
No, but I've seen
mind.
it. Like, just like I said, the same things that has them.
Now you said, you're very woke. You're very like saying, because she has an artistic mind.
I work hard at that.
Because she's artistic, she's allowed to keep her grocery cart in front of you. And walk
No, I didn't say she was allowed.
Oh, okay.
I understand why it happens. I still hate it, and I still get onto her about it, and I still move it out the way.
Maybe she should wear a shirt. This is artistic mind. Forgive me.
But the problem is, I've noticed with her, like, she doesn't set out to do it though. Like, it literally just never even occurs to her. Much in the same way.
Okay, so you're talking about malicious or non-malicious,
Yeah,
or
I'm not talking about
intent.
malicious.
You're talking about intent.
Yeah. So, like, much in the same way for me, I don't notice that the washing machine. Dude, there was one time where it was like over a week that she attempted to see what I would do. Right? We have now. Let me set this up.
Oh boy.
Before her and I got together, I have, like most other people, had a trash can in the bathroom.
You kicked her out and you told her leave my house.
Wow.
You weren't supposed to stay this long.
Yeah,
I remember
right?
those days of you.
I would go weeks and wouldn't have to change it out, because for whatever reason, in my daily whatever, I don't generate trash in the bathroom. I just don't. So I had a trash can, and so I never got into the habit of looking at it, because I would literally go months and not have to change it. Because
it's weird.
I don't know what you guys are doing to generate so much trash in the bathroom, but
I blow mine in the bathroom. That's where.
I don't.
Every one of those Kleenexes are in the bathroom.
Well,
I clean my ears in the bathroom. Every single one of those Q-tips are in the bathroom.
All doctors say you're not supposed to do that, but anyways, so I would go months, and so I'm not trained into like looking at the trash can. To where she, on the other hand, generates copious amounts of trash in the bathroom for various things, and it fills up within like a couple days. And so one time she left it there for like a week, I think it was, seeing if I would do anything, and she thought I was purposely not, changing it. I was like, I don't think you're understanding, man. I just don't look at it. Like, you could literally put the cure for cancer in there, and I would never find it, because I just don't look at it. It's not a malicious thing. I'm not intentionally doing that. I'm not intentionally avoiding it or saying, well, no, that's her.
Well, they also have cycles. So
it just doesn't occur to me to look at it, right?
Those have to go in the trash can, Trinity.
Well, mine doesn't have cycles anymore.
You have daughters, though.
Well, they don't use our trash can.
Oh, okay.
They have their own bathroom for that.
All right.
Thankfully. But my point though is, I've because I'm observant. Yeah. I've seen that. I've seen them do that. Like, I've seen my kids do it. I've seen my wife do it. I've seen friends and my mom, even myself. I've done things where I've noticed, and I look back like, damn, it never even occurred to me. Like, I didn't even see that. And so I think that, gosh, we have a lot of that. I don't know if it causes a lot of problems in the grocery store with shopping carts, but I do think it causes a lot of problems in interpersonal relationships. I think with friends, like, for instance, I won't go into, I'm not going to go into details.
You can accidentally give me something?
No, sensitive subject. You already know.
Don't tell me if it's going to hurt my feelings.
No. It's a sensitive subject, and you already know that, but I'm not going to put it out there in the world, but
Okay.
I'll give the
All right.
premise of it.
All right.
There was a situation that occurred recently with a family member, and a friend of the family decided to do something without reaching out to us first, and it affected our family.
Yeah.
And for me, like immediately, that was like a big no-no. It's kind of a loyalty type thing for me. Having said that, I'm fully aware that the other person's intent, they thought they were helping.
Right.
They didn't realize that there was more to the story, more going on, and they were actually hurting more than they were helping.
Right.
However, for me personally, if a friend of mine did something like that, it's a loyalty issue, and I would treat them differently moving forward. Because for me, it's just there's certain principles that I live by, and that's one of them. And so that's an example of how not being considerate of the other person and how they're feeling, realizing that there's two sides to the story, and interpersonal relationships can cause conflict. And I think that is a real problem.
Right.
Leaving your shopping cart in a store is inconvenient, it's frustrating, but it's not leading to major problems unless you're already, you've reached that point where it's just the next thing that happens, you're going to lose it. But I think that more often than not, when people have come to me with relational issues, it kind of, if you boil it down to the most simplistic idea, is that it's a miscommunication. It's they didn't realize the other person was thinking this, and what they said and what they interpreted are two different things. And I think that being unaware of their feelings matter too. I do think that causes a lot of problems. What do you think?
I think to me, it tells me who you are. I think those little things that we mentioned, and there's probably a million of them. We only mentioned a few.
Yeah.
Are indicative of who that person really is.
Ooh.
I'm sorry. I just really do. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's a personality defect. I think it's a person. I think it's a defect of character that either can be adjusted or not. But if it's an adult person, especially of adult age, closer to, your age or my age, that still do it, it's a pattern of behavior that's been existing in all things, not just those things. That means they're a me first person when it comes to their time and space. I'm not saying in other things. I'm just saying in time and space. In other words, they'll do that in a line. They'll do that driving. They'll do that at a grocery store. They'll do that when there's only one item left, that they can have. I think they'll do that with food. I think they'll do that with goods. In other words, if there's a zombie apocalypse, that's not the person you want to be with. That's what I'm saying. You want to be with the person that's very considerate, because if they have a Hershey's bar in their pocket, they're going to share it with you. And then some people, they're just not, there's no way they're sharing that Hershey's bar with. They're not even going to let you know that they got a Hershey's bar. And so to me, those are indicative of certain personality types. Now, Dana is not that for instance, I've never had these conversations, right? I've never seen her block anyone in. She's always very mindful of that. So there's no way you could just tell me, there's things that I don't even know, or like haven't even thought about or seen her do. And I would tell you, I could predict what behavior we would have. That should be a game show. Predict the behavior in this scenario of your spouse. And I bet you I will get it. I think
I would win that one.
Yeah. I think we all would. I think we all can predict the behavior, even though it's a scenario that we've never seen them go through. Yeah. And I think because all that's a pattern of behavior. I don't think you have to go to each thing and go, hey, by the way, when you're in a grocery store, please move it to the side, because that's not the lesson. The lesson is you should always be mindful that if your space is somehow infringing upon others to be able to do their normal thing, their normal activity, that same person to me will be in a line and they'll block you, or somehow they'll cut if they can. They're just not. They're thinking about themselves first in their time and space instead of other people. Driving always tells you about people, man. It really brings out the jerk off and everything. It's like the cocaine. It's like natural cocaine. Cocaine will bring out the true you. So does driving. Driving brings out the true you. So if you're a driver that's very me first, I'm what matters, screw you, then really that's who you are. You may not like it. It may bother you, but get used to it, because that's you got to learn to accept yourself for who you are. If you want to change it, then change it. But it's going to take a lot of work to change the innateness of what you have. Now, it may be because of you've been raised a certain way, maybe because you've had some challenges, or maybe you don't have the right spirituality and you believe it's all about you, that everything here exists because of you. We're all here for your freaking amusement. Like we're all Joe Pesci all of a sudden. I'm here to amuse you. I'm here to make you laugh. I'm a clown. Maybe I'm a fiction of your imagination. I treat everybody as if they think I'm just a cartoon in their world. That way, I realize that this is your world. I get it. I understand that personality, and I'm okay with it for you. I'm not okay with it when it infringes upon me, but I try to be okay with it, because if not, I'm going to walk around frustrated about everybody and hate people. And I don't want to hate people, and I don't want to be frustrated all the time. So I just accept that most people feel that they're the center of the universe. And okay, it's not, I have to learn how to not make that a big deal in my life.
Sure.
I think that's a life lesson as we mature. How do you grow up allowing people to feel like the center of the universe without hating people, without treating everybody poorly, and without mimicking that same behavior?
Yeah, I think for me, what's helped, because I've gotten less aggressive I haven't. The aggression hasn't gone anywhere. I've
No,
learned
it's
how
still
to,
here. It's still here.
I've learned how to moderate where I let it out and how I let it out
Right.
as I've gotten older.
Yeah.
And one of the things that has helped in those situations, is just I used to fill in the narrative and say that they did it on purpose,
Right.
or I would fill in the narrative when I was younger by saying, they're stupid. Stupid people do stupid things, and you irritate me. Now as I've gotten older, even I'm not gonna say it doesn't irritate me, because it still does to a lesser extent, but it's there. But the way I kind of skillfully handle that is I just think, that's just whatever, man. They're doing their thing. They're lost in the world, and just, hey, excuse me, let me get through here. And that's how I personally have been able to navigate that in a way that doesn't cause me suffering or those around me. Some days are easier than others. Some instances are easier than others, for sure. I've noticed that for me, when like the car one affects me sometimes, if it's drastic enough to where I feel like my life was in danger, or if my property was about to be destroyed. Um, like the other day when the car just stopped, where one lady, it was a 2-lane road and there's a turn lane, and she just skipped the turn lane altogether and was in this lane, just decided to turn right in front. I'm like, what are you doing? In those situations, yeah, it irritates me, because I got my kids in the car. Like, I could have ran into the back of you. I could have destroyed my car, your car, who maybe you have a kid in your car, and I could have hurt them, all because you were what? You didn't understand that the turn lane is for turning. Like, and yeah, those things do bother me for sure. But
Yeah.
even in that instance, seconds later, I'm good. Right. But in that exact moment, my reaction is that of, what the hell, man? Like, I get irritated. And I think that's rightfully so, right? It's a high tension thing, driving. There's a lot going on while you're driving, and some people handle it better than others. But
Right.
for those of us who handle it better, it's not that it's any easier for us. We just become more adept to handling a very stressful situation. Like, there's a lot going on that you got to focus on. But I've so I was raised to be considerate. Like, that's just how my mom brought me up. I'm trying to do the same thing with my kids. When my kids are saying or doing certain things, if I feel that it's inconsiderate, I'll pull them to the side and say, hey, and I'll try to explain to them why I was inconsiderate and why it's important to be considerate. And then when they do things that are very considerate, I'll tell them, hey, good job. I saw what you did there. That's pretty cool of you. I'll try to kind of pump them up at the same time. That's what my mom did for me. And it's something I've stayed with my whole life. And I'm thankful for that. It can be fun. It can be annoying sometimes to notice everything, but I'd rather notice everything than notice nothing. I'd rather notice everything and be a little stressed out than notice nothing and be that person that's causing the chain reaction of hurt feelings and frustrations for everybody behind me because I wasn't paying attention.
So you can remember a specific lesson that your mom taught you to learn consideration?
Oh yeah, tons of them, because I was a very inconsiderate little prick when I was a kid. I was just an angry, mean kid, and so there's many times where I was doing things that were mean or something, and she would stop me and say, "No, like, how do you think that makes the other person feel? Do unto others as you do unto them," kind of a thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, she taught me a lot of that when I was a kid.
Yeah, I got none of that. And it's not to put my parents down, but I'm just thinking. So my dad was the considerate one, or is the considerate one, and my mom is not. So my mom's lessons are all revolving around how, family. Now both of them consider it family, no matter what. I mean, like,
Right, sure.
they'll do anything for, go out of their way, whatever. That's different. But outside the family, my mom's more about image. Like,
Right.
how does that make us look? You know,
Right.
not how does that make them feel? It's like,
Sure.
like how do you feel about it, and how does that make us look? But my dad, on the other hand, is like he's more like that. Like,
I can see
that's
that.
my dad
I can see
was
that.
mindful of that. So I
Just from
had
my
both.
interactions with him, I can see
Yeah.
that.
So maybe because your mom was one, she had to do both,
Right.
play both roles.
Right.
But in my family, it's definitely defined roles, and that doesn't
Sure.
mean one is worse than the other. I just, when you said that, I was thinking, God, what were the life lessons? And like the first one that came into my head is I remember calling a girl fat and ugly or something like that to my dad, and
Right.
my dad looks at me and he goes, "You're so stupid." I go, "What?" He goes, "All women are beautiful, Louis. All of them. You should treat them all like they're beautiful."
Right.
And I'm like, "What the hell's my dad been smoking? What the hell's he thinking?" I was like, "Can't he see how?" And I try to convince him to look at her dad.
I've had conversations like that
And,
with my son.
and the more I try to convince, and I was a little kid, but the more I try to convince
Yeah.
him, the more he got really angry. And he gets that look. My dad looks at me like I'm the stupidest guy on the planet. And I know that look very well because he's like, my dad is probably always gave me that same exact look for every topic of every comment. He just gives me a look like, how can you have come from me? Like he gives me that. How the hell?
Uh,
How do you breathe, Louis? How have you not bumped your head or fallen off a building with that line of thought? That's the way he
you've
looks at
just
me.
you've just summarized my relationship with my son.
Yeah, I was your son growing up, and my dad just looked at me
Uh,
like, I don't even know how you exist.
yes, there's sometimes when my son will do something, I'm just like, oh my god, dude, what are you
That's
doing?
yeah.
But I've had conversations because he's done that, right? Because he gets his feelings hurt, and then I see it's written all over him, man. He's an emotional kid, and when his feelings get hurt, instead of
Mhm.
him understanding and working with that, he's 11, he'll lash out. You hurt me, I'm gonna hurt you right back,
Yeah.
And part of me, I don't want him to get rid of that because I like the aggression. I think as a boy, you need to have a certain amount of aggression.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to stamp it out, but I'm trying to reel it in. Like I don't want him to get rid of it, but I want him to learn how to okay, there's a time and a place to use that aggression.
Right.
And so, oftentimes like him and his sister will get into it and
Mhm.
she'll like push him and he'll push her back and she'll hit the ground because he's stronger. And I was like, dude, you can't do that. And he's like, well, that's she pushed me. I was like, it doesn't matter, dude. You're bigger, you're stronger. Like you gotta, reel that in. Um, and so I've done that a lot with him, where like some girl at school was mean or something like that, so we called her ugly. Like, there was one time he got into an altercation with a girl. Oh, girl. She had a birthmark on her lip, like a spot or something, and she said she called him ugly or something like that. And so he turned around and he told us, that's why you get that thing on your lip. Like he hit her right where it hurt the most. And I'm like, buddy, you can't say when she called me ugly. He's like, it doesn't matter, dude. Like you stung her deep, man.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
can't do those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think for me, that's where I think that's where the seed was planted. Was my mother? She taught me the importance of being considerate of those
That's cool.
around you.
That's cool.
Um, then I got a little bit older. I got into my late teens, early 20s, and that's
Mhm.
why I was just mean, aggressive, and I didn't really care
Mhm.
about for hurting other people's feelings to an extent, right? Like I didn't cross any lines. I didn't go
Mm.
around like pushing old ladies down. Um,
Ugh.
but I had no problem though being aggressive to anybody around me who wanted it. Like I had no problem, but I always had like my leash was only but so long, right? And I went to the end of it, but at the end of it was those things where I just didn't go overboard. And as I've gotten older, then yeah, I've learned how to control that aggression a little bit more. And so now I'm less likely, to like if somebody comes up to me today and just points at one of my tattoos, and be like, "Ooh, I don't like that. That's bad or whatever." I just, oh, okay. Like, towards the 22-year-old version of me is, oh, really? I'll pick something on you. Then I want you to know how that felt, like, right?
Right.
Because I didn't really ask you your opinion on a life choice of mine. I don't even know who you are, but
Right.
you felt the need to give it to me. Great. So now I'm going to feel the need to give you an opinion on one of your life choices as well, just so you know how it feels. But now as I'm older, I just be like, okay, like,
Well,
great.
as guys, that's how we got nicknames. I mean, if you're,
Yeah.
there was a reason my nickname was Frog. I mean, it wasn't because I was jumping everywhere. It was because I have a big head and my eyes are, separated a little bit and they're big. You know what I mean? Or at least they look like that when I was a
It's
kid.
not
You
the
know what I
little
mean?
cookie, the
No,
little frog.
it wasn't a cookie frog that they were talking about, or vampire, where they would call me vampires because I had literally had really sharp vampire teeth. I mean, so that's how you get nicknames as
Right.
kids, as boys. If
Sure.
your nickname is Applehead, there's a reason your nickname's Applehead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, so do you think? So here's a question. So do you think that we're moving in the right direction? The way because we're very socially conscious, right? We're trying to be more socially conscious, which is important. Let me preface this. Being socially conscious the correct way is important. That's what we're talking about. Everything that we're talking about, being considerate to others, that's socially conscious. But even your response to when I first said socially conscious is because we took social consciousness and we made that into just specific groups. We've given ownership of social consciousness to specific groups that aren't asking for social consciousness. They're asking for preferential treatment or excuse to their behavior. And so that's what drives us all nuts, but we're not allowed to say it. So do you think that the way we're teaching social consciousness now, the way we're teaching it now, where your feelings matter more than others, your thoughts about you matter more than others, or you matter more than others, do you think that's the right way to go about it? Or should we have stayed where we were teaching people to be do as unto others as you would have them do unto you? The golden rule kind of stuff. Sticks and stones can't break my bones, but words will never hurt you. Those kinds of lessons. And I'm going to plug in my computer while you respond. Hold on.
Sure. I'd say that there's not to sound too spiritual here, but I think there's a middle path.
Well, this is Dharma time, bro.
I think the pendulum. Yeah, I think the pendulum was a bit too far in one direction.
Okay.
And then it swung way too far in the other direction.
Yeah.
And I think that the right answer is somewhere in the middle. Like the golden rule has never really set right with me.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I was younger. And as I've gotten older and I've learned more about spirituality, it sits even less right with me with the golden rule. The golden rule on face value sounds good, right?
Mm-hmm.
The idea of treat others as you want to be treated. And in certain instances about being rude or disrespectful or things of that nature, like, yeah, it makes sense. However, I think that, okay, so it's like a double-sided one, right? I think the golden rule is good for mass groups of people that you're not dealing one-on-one with. But if you're dealing one-on-one, then the golden rule needs to modify a little bit to treat others the way they want to be treated. And what I mean by that is like in a relationship. If my wife treated me the way she wants to be treated, her and I would not get along. Because, like for instance, I'm a much more analytical thinker. I'm much more of a something happens. Let's talk about it right now. Let's figure it out and get it dealt with and move on with our day. I don't want to linger on it. I don't want to have it build up for the next 7-8 hours. Like something happens, let's talk about it. Let's address it. Let's
30
process
years.
it. Yeah, let's process it and move on. My wife, on the other hand, my wife is a processor. She's going to need some time to wrap her head around. And if you force her to talk right now, you're not going to like what's about to come out of her mouth.
Mm-mm.
What's about to come out of her mouth, if you're not emotionally ready for it, is going to hurt. Because that's just her reaction. Her instincts are just to lash out when you make her talk. And so treating others as you want to be treated, like that means that she would come to me and when something happens, she would let it build up, or she'd dance around it. And I don't want that. Like if I've done something, be direct. Just be like, hey, I didn't like it when you did this. Oh, okay. And then I can adjust. And so that's why I think in the masses, don't walk around and just like slap somebody. I don't want to be slapped, so don't slap other people. But when the one-on-one or the more close relationships, let's treat others the way they want to be treated, which means you have to listen more than you talk.
Keep
going.
I'm sorry. No,
I'm just saying it just means that you got to hear them. Like when people will tell you what they want and how they want to be treated, believe them. If they want certain things, then treat them that way.
Unless they say slap me, motherfucker. Because then there's some dudes out there say that. Wait, she asked me.
50 Shades of Grey, though, man. So it depends on the situation.
Well, I'm talking about you. There's guys out there that I don't want them to misread this. So, no, but they'll look at you for real. They're like, no, bro, you don't understand. She wanted me to hit her. I'm like, no, bro,
no, she didn't.
No,
she was antagonizing you.
Yeah. And if she did, she wants your ass to go to jail.
Yeah.
So no, don't do it.
But no, so I think the answer is somewhere in the middle. Because the problem with like the treat others as the way you wanted to be treated.
Right, I agree.
I think that's kind of run rampant right now. Is meaning there's a group of individuals out there at the moment that collectively as a group what they want out of life and how they want to be treated is vastly different than another group. And instead of them realizing that and understanding that that's okay, they instead say, well, no, you're wrong. You should want the same things I want. And if you don't, then there's something wrong with you. And that, to me, is the exact opposite of the intent of the
Right.
golden rule.
There's also a different lesson, and it's treat people the way they deserve to be treated based on your understanding. So
Sure.
if you think,
It was like a long one, but
well, I mean, or just stop it on treat other people how they deserve to be treated. In other words, like they'll say, you have to earn my respect. No, I don't have to earn your respect. You should respect me. Look, I give everyone respect, period, because that's the right thing to do. You want to be disrespectful, that's on you. I'm still going to respect you. So I think we need to teach, just be respectful. Because if you base it on your judgment, look, we know we have mood swings. We know we're not always correct. So because we have mood swings and because we're not always correct, that rule's not going to work very well because I might always feel justified. And how are you going to help me understand? That's why some of you can't teach your children when it's okay and when it's not okay, because it's a moving target. It can't be based on what you think. It's just got to be a fact. You don't people shouldn't have to earn your respect. They shouldn't have to earn your trust. They don't have to earn your love. No, you either love, trust, and respect because it's the right thing to do, or just don't do it. But they can't earn it, and therefore they can't take it away from you either. They also can't piss you off unless you allow yourself to be a pissed off person. They can't hurt you unless you allow yourself to be hurt. So these things are our ownership, and therefore we should do it. We should teach to own our thoughts and behaviors and how we behave instead of blame. Like, I'm like this because of this. I'm like this because of this. And I'm not talking to people like my wife who thinks everything she does is because she's a Virgo, which might answer some of your responses because your wife is a Virgo too.
Mm-hmm.
So my wife's response to some things, she just laughs and she goes, "Oh, it's because I'm a Virgo." I'm like, baby, that doesn't excuse you of anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because she'll always look at me and she goes, "You are no Libra." I go, "I am a Libra." She goes, "No, you are no Libra. You are a Scorpio because you are premature." And I'm like, I don't know what that means, but it sounds like you put me down, baby. So I don't know enough about them damn signs to know what she's saying. But Libra says I'm a damn Libra. That's what it says. That's what the coffee
There you
mug
go.
says. Look,
Sure.
look at what the Libra says. Look, wait. Romantic. What is that other word?
Harmonious and balanced.
Yeah, she doesn't think I'm harmonious and balanced.
I would say she's got a little bit of she's not an unbiased opinion though.
So yeah, I think unfortunately the golden rules, and that's why I was asking you. What you think that we're not just the golden rule, but all lessons. I think we're teaching people to look if they're a person of a certain type that you don't like, then all the stereotypes that you have in your head about that person and that type, apply them to them, unless they're looking at your stereotypes and then judge them upon that. And that's the weird rule. It's like you stereotype, but no one's allowed to stereotype you. You judge them, but no one's allowed to judge you.
Yeah.
And that's a weird rule. That's just a weird. How do you raise kids with rules like that? Because we're actually teaching our kids that.
I don't.
Especially your kids. We're telling, well, not your kids, because you're for a white guy, you have brown kids. So that's very interesting because you're in a weird scenario. Because if your kids were white kids, they'd be learning that they're just inherently bad people, and there's just no fixing it, right? In today's world,
they trying, but
spiritually, I feel for a lot of these kids that are not understanding the complexities of some of these conversations. You know what I mean? They just don't. And so spiritually, how do you help someone understand? No, we are all equal, baby. You're allowed to see people as equal. No, you're not inherently bad because you're not of a certain type. No, you're allowed to have judgment even upon those types of people or those kinds of people, because judgment is a natural thing. Now what you do with that judgment and how you speak that judgment is what you need to learn how to do. But judgment, liking certain people more than others, not understanding certain people, that's all normal. They do it, you do it, we all do it. Nobody has an extra pass on that.
Well, like, as another example, right? So part of the considering other people and being considerate it's somewhere the golden rule, right? And what I mean by that is like so we did a show on Friday for the We the Middle, and one of the topics on that show was Andrew Tate. And so I've gotten into I've had many discussions, and I've heard many discussions about this guy, and it's just interesting to me to hear the responses from the various different people, right?
Right.
Because there's individuals that I spoke to who talked after that show, reached out to me,
Okay.
and was asking me, did I hear about the voice recordings that were done? And I said, I heard of recordings. I don't know if it was him, because his brother sounds exactly like him, which is weird.
Yeah. So does mine sometimes.
But I didn't know. I don't know that it was him. I don't know the context of those voice recordings. I don't know why they have them, where they came from. I don't know the conversation that was taking place. Like, I don't know any of that stuff, but I know there are recordings. And that to me is being considerate.
Right.
I'm being considerate of the fact of I would not want to be in a position where everybody's looking at me like I'm the worst person on the planet who doesn't know me. Right? Like, I've never met this guy, so I don't know anything about him. What I will say is, if he's guilty of some of the things that he's being accused of at the moment, then I absolutely hope he gets, in trouble and punished appropriately. I'm not going to say that I hope that those things are true, because that means I'm hoping that somebody was hurt, and I'm not going to do that. But I'm being considerate enough to realize that, hey, man, there's a biasness against this guy at the moment. There's a lot of diatribe out there against him, and not all of it's true, right? Like, I don't know what's true and what. I've never met the guy. I've never spent a moment with him, and I'm only going to respond to the things that I can see that are factual. And to me, that's being considerate, because if I was on the flip side of that, if something were to happen, I would like for people not to look at me and be like, oh, that I've watched enough crime shows to know if my wife ever ends up hurt or dead, I'm not talking to the cops, bro. And it's not because I'm guilty. It's because, nope, the first person you're going to pin it on is the husband who looks like me and who's like twice as, nope, I'll answer all your questions, officer, once I have a lawyer right next to me and we make sure we do this on the up and up. Right. And because of that, and it's because I know they're not all going to be considerate. If just one of them gets it in their head that I'm the one, then their job no longer is to follow the truth. Their job turns into, how do we prove it was him? And I'm not about that life. And so for me, part of being considerate isn't just leaving your shopping cart to the side. Part of being considerate is giving people the benefit of the doubt when you don't know any better. Like, I don't know, so I'm not going to treat this person terribly over some things that I don't know about. Right? Like, and I think that in today's world, we're way too quick to do that. Both on a larger scale with celebrities and whatnot, on both sides, right? I mean, how many people thought Bill Cosby was so great and so wonderful, and compared him to other people, and he was like the greatest dad? I don't think he'd say that today, right? And I'm not even saying he did or didn't do it, because according to the law, they let him go. So there's something there. I don't know.
Right.
But my point is, you don't rush to either one of them. You got to be considerate of the individuals that are involved in this. And I think that I don't think in today's society we're pushing that. Matter of fact, if you are being considerate, then you somehow turn out to be the bad guy. Do you know? Because I've gotten a little bit of hate for my defense of some of the things that Andrew Tate has said. The fact that I'm not willing to condemn him like he's the second coming of the Antichrist, I've actually gotten some hate.
Yeah.
Like, and with Trump, you and I both.
Yeah.
I am not a Trump guy.
Yeah.
Never have been, probably never will be. I'm just not a Trump hater.
Right.
I'm not going to destroy. Like, I've never met this guy, so I can't have these very visceral reactions for somebody I've just never met. I don't know who that is.
Well, initially, you and Angel both gave me a lot of shit for that.
I thought he was an idiot,
because I was defending him first.
I still think he's an idiot, but
but that's not all you were saying.
We like to bust your balls, though.
Right.
But
right.
yeah.
And then later on, you realized, no, there was a lot of hate towards him without any judge, without really looking into it.
Well, I was just trying to be considerate, right?
Right,
I'm being considerate of the fact of, like, hold up.
Yeah.
I mean, they were calling this dude all sorts of names, and as if it's a factual statement.
Right.
And when you look into it, not so much, man.
Right.
And so I think that that's kind of what I mean too about being considerate. Being considerate is just understanding, man. Like, what would you feel in that position? Not specifically, but in general, right? Like, yes, if I was an arrogant and running my mouth and doing all these boisterous things and presenting a character to the world, yeah, maybe I wouldn't care so much, right? But I don't know if that's what he is or he isn't doing. So let's look at the
Right.
bigger picture. How would you
Right.
feel if the world just suddenly you woke up tomorrow and that thing that you did yesterday that you didn't think anybody saw you did, that is not indicative of who you are by any means. You just had a lapse of judgment, maybe a moment you overlooked something. Who knows? Maybe it was just an innocent, stupid mistake
Right.
that thankfully nobody saw and you were able to move on with your life and it's no big deal.
Yeah.
Well, what if the world saw that? And you
Yeah.
woke up tomorrow and they turned on you and thought you were the worst human being. You got fired from your job. Your family left you.
You moved the
Like,
Corvette.
yeah, just if just your entire world came crumbling down for some innocent, stupid thing that you really didn't even think of, and that happened. So that's what I mean by we have to be considerate, man. Like we do. We have to be considerate from the small
Right.
to, hey, that person has every right to reach the mac and cheese just as I do. So let me not block it. Let me kind of be
Right.
aware of my
Right.
surroundings, all the way up to the highest of, I've never met this person. I don't know what the facts are, so I'm not going to condemn them yet.
Right. And you're bringing up some good points because you're talking about some serious judgment based on like one subject matter or something, right? So like you brought up Cosby and Trump, two
Yeah.
people that could bring up all kinds of discussion
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
emotion, right? Because neither have been convicted or that stuff, right? So
Well, his
really,
was vacated, but yeah,
right, but I
Cosby.
mean, but like, you know, you could really have some serious discussions about how you really feel about these two individuals, although
Yeah.
they're very different individuals, and it could be based on what you came into it wanting to believe, right? We wanted to believe a certain thing about Bill Cosby, and at least for me, I wanted to believe a certain thing about Trump because I liked him on Celebrity Apprentice, and plus I'm a big boxing fan, and he always put on boxing matches in his hotel. So I looked at him like that. That's it. Like I knew if you tell me, oh, he's a rich snob. Yeah. That's not the part that I'm worried about. You know what I mean? Of
Right.
course, you know, I don't think you can make that much money without having a bunch of defects of character in New York. Like New York is a rough, tough
Right.
part of the demographic that you probably are not a very nice person if you're making it in that kind of a tough area, right?
Right.
So I didn't have any expectations of him being a moral compass or anything, but I did have an expectation of Cosby being a moral compass, right? You
Right.
see what I'm saying? So I had a
Sure.
different expectation based on a Cosby character, what he gave us as a society. It was so much different, right? The Cosby that I wanted to believe was, and the Cosby that it ended up being accused of, they're so different. The
Yeah.
O.J. Simpson that I wanted O.J. Simpson to be, and the O.J. Simpson that we heard about during the O.J. Simpson, very different.
Yeah.
Trump was like this. You know what I mean? I didn't expect much of the person, so it bothered me that people attacked him. It was like, dude, he didn't do anything to deserve it because he's just being who he is.
Right.
You know, you call him arrogant, that doesn't say anything. You know,
Yeah.
that's not, you know, that doesn't mean anything. He's not going around saying, I'm humble. You know, he's not going around doing that.
If he did, he'd say, I'm the most humble person out there.
Yeah, I'm bigly humble. You know, so I think that a lot of it has to do with we are natural hypocrites, and we have to accept that we're natural hypocrites. It's not a trait that only others have. It's a trait that all of us have. And the harder it is for you to accept your hypocrisies, that makes you a more difficult person to help because you don't want to see that you're hypocritical. You want to deny that you have hypocrisies. You want to believe that me and all animals are better than all other humans. There's some of you that 100% believe that. You really 100% believe that animals are you would save an animal over a person. You would trust an animal over a person.
Some animals eat their young.
Yeah, and you were like, you forget we're animals, for one, but you forget that the animal kingdom we mimic everything of the animal kingdom. Some people out there believe, oh, humans are the only ones that kill for fun. You don't know that.
Dolphins have done that.
We have defined what we see. We have judged what we see.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know that they really needed to eat the whole damn thing. You know what I mean?
No, they've actually got video of dolphins like killing like fish just for the hell of it.
And let me tell you something. Go ahead. If you believe that, feed all the alligators and then walk right up to them. If you believe they only kill for hunger, then you do that. You want to go into the lion's cage after they feed him and see that the lion leaves you alone. You know, see that the grizzly bear leaves you alone when he already ate. No. You're being foolish. You're being ridiculous. All plants kill, including trees. You know, so trees kill. Plants kill. Everything living kills. The little organisms inside. We don't have cancer because a human did it. There's an actual organism that wants to eat us alive and kill us. It's a cell. A cell or a free radical cell actually kills us. A free radical creates another free radical, creates another free radical, and somehow keeps killing us every year we live. Every day we live, these things are multiplying inside of us, trying to kill us. While our white blood cells are like our little military army walking around trying to defend us. And then some of us are dumbasses, smoke pot that actually kills. The only thing it kills is white blood cells, which is your military, and then depletes your military so it can be killed more. It's just, this is the way humans
was your
behave.
medical moment. That
This
was
is
your
the way
medical
we
moment.
behave. This is the stuff we do. We want to get high, so we're willing to kill our white blood cells. Our white blood cells are there to intend to protect us from it. So no, it can't kill us in the moment, but it depletes your military. And some of you are okay with depleting military because you think this freedom is free. You think it just comes to be. You have no idea of how many kids from the hood and how many kids from rural areas of America have dedicated their life to protect you. That's what they've done. These minority kids from the hood and these rural kids from out in the country have taken jobs that you wouldn't take and are out there defending this country right now, which is how you have your freedom in the first place. So
how do I follow that up, man?
be considerate. Just be considerate because you don't know. Everything you experience is out of privilege. Every one of you are privileged. Not just white people are privileged. As a Mexican in this country, I'm privileged. And if you have a passport, an American passport, you're fucking privileged. So stop looking at other people like they have more privilege than you. You have privilege.
There you go. Was that your wrap up?
Yeah, that's my wrap. But
that's your wrap up.
Be considerate because we're all bastards at heart, and you know what I mean. We're animals. We're really animals. We really are selfish humans. We have not been a true pack animal for a very, very long time. And even those packs of animal that now pretend to be so innocent. Look, I'm 14% native, so I'm just going to say it. The way we want to believe it, the natives were these nice, peaceful people, and then all the evil white men can. No, natives were killing natives always. It's just the way it is. All species of human killed another species of human. There are no innocent humans.
No.
There are no types of human has been innocent ever because we are animals. We tend to do that. We may have a pack, but the weaker of our pack always gets treated poorly in the animal kingdom, in the human kingdom. Only we're the only ones that actually look at that weakest one and go, we have to build that one up. We have to treat that one better and nicer. And only until now are we saying that the weakest one deserves the most attention and we should be led by the weakest. Hell no. We should never be led by the weakest animal. That will never work in any animal society. And my friends, you and we are animals. Can't happen. Won't happen. We have to help them, run with us, fight with us, eat with us, partake with us. I don't want to judge you, but damn it, we can't let you lead us because you're the weakest, stupider of the one. And there's always a weaker, stupider person. And if you don't believe there's a stupider person, you have not been in a group of people. Have you not been in the room where you might not have been in many rooms where you're the stupider person, but I've been in a lot of rooms where I'm the most stupid person in the room. I'm not going to pretend to be the leader of that room. I'm the stupidest one in here. That's just normal. I've been in rooms where I'm the weakest person there. So don't have me be the one that lift the shit. I'm going to be the one that sits back. Can you please lift it? I'm the weakest one in here. So I'm not going to have you think it if I'm the least thinker in here. But this is more powerful for me, and this is more powerful for me than this. So I tend to be allowed and put in situations where I'm the thinker of the tank, or I'm the speaker of the tank, not the physical person of the tank. You can go back to my old friends from high school, and they'll tell you what my role was in our group. And trust me, I fit that role, I do that role, and I'm okay with that role. You got to be okay with your role in society. And if you haven't figured that out, you think you need my role, you got to come earn this role. You can't just have it because I have it. I'm not trying to get your role, right? Really, Trinity, when's the last time you see me try to do your role? You're the biggest, strongest person in the room. I don't want to go do that role. You know how many steroids I'd have to take to try to match your role? I'm not interested. You have it naturally. I would have to take steroids. I'm not interested in that. So if we believe it physically, why is it that we don't believe it character-wise? How come we don't believe it attitude-wise? How come we don't believe it intelligence-wise? No. We're okay with understanding that some people are just more physically gifted than others, or they work harder at it, right? Well, guess what?
Sure.
Same thing happens with professionalism. Same thing happens with kindness. Same thing happens with humor. Same thing happens with some people practice it so much they deserve everything they're having because of it. If you think you're entitled to it, go get it. Practice. Be kinder. Be a better person. Don't turn into more of a jerk off and be meaner to people and then demand it. That's not going to happen. You're gonna find yourself right in front of my machete. Seriously.
I mean, if this mic wasn't so expensive, I'd drop it.
Seriously, I have a machete for a reason, bro. And every good Latino has a machete. Everyone.
God, well, on that note, I will say before I give my wrap up, which will be a little bit less intense than that one, I think. But
yeah, because you're the Dharma guy. So can you Dharma it up a little bit, please?
Yeah, right.
I apologize.
Oh, I've had my non-Dharma moments, so
that's the
thankfully
dope part of me.
Yeah, thankfully my non-Dharma moments either come off the air or on Fridays. But
speaking of Friday, we'll probably be doing it extra early or extra late.
Okay.
We'll have that conversation, but stay tuned because we got a lot of stuff to wrap up on the Friday show.
Sure. Well, having said all that, before I give my wrap up, I want to say thank you to everybody who chimed in to listen to us and followed along. As always, if you're watching this live on either Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, feel free to give us a follow and hit the subscribe, like, all that stuff, so that way you can get notifications. If you listen to this at your own leisure via whatever podcasting platform you listen to, thanks for that too. Yeah, I guess the main thing I want people to take away from today, if I was to just narrow it down, I guess, is just to be considerate of others around you at all times, right? Be mindful of the fact that you're not alone in this world. Um, as much as you might think of yourself as an island, you're not. The things that you say, the things that you do, the way you behave has a ripple effect, and it impacts everybody around you. Some to a greater extent and some to a lesser extent. But it does. Like you're not an island. You can't just do whatever you want and let other people deal with the after effects. So be aware that other people are present. They have feelings. They have emotions. They have thoughts. That doesn't mean that they have to dictate to you how you behave. However, do your best to not infringe upon them. They don't have to control how you behave, but try not to, purposely infringe upon them. If it's something as simple as, hey, maybe as he said, if I'm in the grocery aisle and I got to stop to look at something, maybe I try to move my cart completely out of the way just in case somebody's coming through before I go look. Because I'm trying to be considerate of the fact that other people are trying to do things, they're trying to shop, and they don't need to have to navigate around what I did. Or if it's something to the other end of the spectrum, like we were talking about earlier, where, hey, everybody's piling onto somebody and really ruining their life, maybe I'll be considerate enough to say, hey, I'd want to give that person the benefit of the doubt because I know I'd want it as well. I'd want the opportunity to explain or justify my actions before I was just completely land-based. So I think that's all I got for today. I appreciate you. And now that you know better, do better. Peace.